Ever wondered why a single person only gets 25% off their council tax? I'm Rachel. I'm a public and social policy consultant on a mission to scrap council tax. So it's the first week of March, and this week, councils will be producing somewhere in the region of 30 million council tax bills worth around £50 billion for this year alone. And for just short of 9 million households, there will be a 25% discount because there's only one adult living in the property. So why 25%? Well, we need to go back in time, even before poll tax. Before poll tax, which was only alive for about 3 years, between 1990 and 1993, we had something called domestic rates. Now, domestic rates were based on the property and not the people. So it didn't matter how many people were living in the property, the rates were the same. They were revalued semi-frequently, but they were all based on the property. And in some cases, the landlord or the landowner was still liable to pay. Now, she who shall not be named did not like this, and one of the things that she wanted to do was take away the tax burden from landlords and landowners and push it onto tenants, and B, she wanted to make it a per capita tax, which meant that every person in the household paid an equal amount. It did not go well. Now, a per capita tax, poll tax, or a per head tax, was particularly regressive, which means that if everybody is asked to pay the same amount, regardless of their income or their circumstances, it's a fundamentally unfair tax, which is one of the many reasons the poll tax was abolished. Along comes council tax. Now, council tax is kind of the great compromise. So we look back at domestic rates where it was fully property based, and then we look at poll tax, which was fully people based. And council tax said, listen, we really need to sort of balance this, produce a very reasonable looking alternative to these two systems. So let's make it half property, half people. And so we have the same system today. 50% of your council tax bill is based on the property, and the remaining 50% is based on people. Now, not the exact number of people or adults that live in your property, but it's based on quite a heteronormative sort of two adults living in a property. And so when we look at the whole of a council tax bill, 50% is made up of the property and 50% is based on two adults living in the property, which is why when only one liable adult lives in the property, you get half of half off. So you get 25% off, making your whole bill 75% and not 50%. This isn't the only 25% discount that is available in council tax. So whenever an adult living in the property is deemed exempt, now that could be because of something like a severe mental impairment, or they could be a student, for example, you also get only 25% off. For exactly the same reason. This 25% is not based on ability to pay, it's not based on property value, it's not based on the type of person who is exempt or absent from the property, the kind of why there's only one person, one adult living in the house. It's based on a political compromise, which is why 8.8 million, just short of 9 million households in the UK will receive a bill over the next couple of weeks with a 25% discount. A single person is liable to pay 75% of a full council tax bill, despite being the only person in the property. One of the many, many ways in which council tax is unfair. What would be a fairer system? What would be better policy? Well, better policy would mean scrapping council tax in its entirety and stopping the focus on property and people and putting the focus onto land. Because if council tax does anything, it protects land wealth. But when it presented itself in 1993 as this reasonable compromise, this kind of bureaucratic compromise with a series of reasonable looking discounts and exemptions, it was accepted as far more reasonable, I can't think of a better word, reasonable alternative to the volatility that we'd experience with poll tax and the support that the Conservative government gave at the time to landlords and landowners who didn't want to pay. So when your bill drops through your letterbox in the next few weeks, that's why 25%, not 50%, council tax is unfair. It's got to go. It's just the worst. We need better policy.